What's up, my dude? We got Adam Cianciarulo possibly injured before the 2022 Supercross season. So, Spency boy out here again with a little bit of Supercross news info. Okay, so this was actually coming from the Swapmoto Live. They were talking about this, so this is not just super hearsay, but at the same time, take it with a grain of salt, you know what I mean? There's a lot of this info that's kind of halfway believable. I don't know, apparently Adam Cianciarulo hurt his wrist at some point, and he could potentially miss a couple of Supercross races, so I think some of you guys, I know I didn't really realize that this was going on. I thought he was perfectly healthy. But, you know, just making this video to let some of you guys know if you don't see Adam Cianciarulo in some of the first couple Supercross races or he's not riding as good, this is probably the culprit for it right here. And they were talking about how Brock Tickle, I think, was supposed to potentially fill in until Adam Cianciarulo comes back. So this is kind of a hidden little info gem that I didn't really, think that everybody and their grandmother knew about. So I thought it was worthy of making a video on. And man, it's going to be a crazy Supercross year. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of dudes getting hurt. As much as I hate to say it, there's just, especially in the 450 class, there's just so many wicked fast dudes. It's like, how are you going to separate yourself other than riding on that ragged edge, I don't know how you're going to separate yourself without doing that, basically. When you have literally 10, 15 dudes that are either previous 250 champions or have won main events before, it's like, damn, dog. But you know how it is. A lot of these guys get kind of minor injuries before they go into a certain season, and they kind of try to keep it on the hush-hush so that, people don't really know about it. And then a lot of these boys just ride with these certain injuries, especially like in Cianciarulo's case and some of these other boys, like, they got to be shining. It's their time now. Like, they don't have time to be injured. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like they got a lot to prove, like, this year. So hopefully Cianciarulo can, he may be there at A1, but I don't know the extent of this wrist injury. I'm making this video to be like, there's something there potentially. I am hearing this. This is kind of the talk of the town. This was on Swapmoto's video, just kind of that sort of thing here. And apparently Brock Tickle's injured too. I have no idea. I think Jet Reynolds is injured. Faulkner might have crashed again. I have no idea. But all these boys are pushing it pretty hard, and it's going to be one of those years where I think dudes are going to start dropping like flies, once we get into the 4th, 5th, 6th, Supercross race of 2022. So, but hopefully it doesn't turn out that way. It just seems like that happens when you got this stacked of a field, right? But yeah, we sipping on that tea, baby. We're making these videos. Just wanted to come out here and let you boys know. So I think there's a lot of times where dudes have rode with injuries and we didn't really know about it. We didn't really, if it's not enough of an injury to prevent them from racing, we don't really hear about it. We don't really know about it most of the time. And I mean, man, this is one of the biggest reasons I kind of stepped away from real life riding a little bit. And, didn't really try to take it to that next level and all that. Dude, these injuries ain't no joke, man. I mean, just about any of those boys that are pro racing at this point in Supercross, they've had a laundry list. They've had a lifelong list of injuries, painful, hospital stay, and some guys just can't stay away from it. But the majority of them have at least been through it to some extent, The only guys I know of that didn't really experience a lot of that was like Dungy, and dudes like that. And he even broke his back at one of the rounds in outdoors, right? But, I mean, it's like the most careful, calm, collected, conservative riders, even the most of that level of riders still have been through a certain amount of injuries, you know? I just don't see how you would ever become a pro supercross or motocross dude without ever having like major injuries. I mean, you're going to have a certain amount of them, you know? It's like limiting the damage. A lot of people have that saying of, you know, with racing dirt bikes, it's like, it's not a matter of if you're going to crash, it's when you're going to crash. And that kind of goes into the injury. It's not a matter of if you're going to get injured, it's when you're going to get injured and how bad it is. You know what I mean? And personally, I mean, I just didn't want a lifelong, you know, going through that. So that's personally that is the biggest reason I stepped away from racing hardcore in real life. I know that may sound like, you know, some stupid thing to not race as much, but that's what turned me from trying to race competitively in real life to just going back to riding for fun, you know, and racing for fun and just doing it for fun. I can only imagine the speed those boys are going, you know, the multiplication of how bad the injuries are at the speed they're going compared to what I was going in real life back when I was really trying to race back in like 2012, 13, and 14. Oh, man. I've had a couple of doozies, let me just tell you that. A couple of completely fly off the bike, plumb across the track, land in a mud hole. Had my fair share of concussions, forgot everything multiple times. That was the big thing that kind of, the concussion part of it in real life, so it really started to get kind of freaky. And then, broke tailbone, you know. I was lucky to not break like a femur or, you know, really damage an internal organ. I mean, good God, man. Some of these boys like Austin Fortner, they had to take his whole entire spleen out and like it almost killed the guy. I mean, holy crap, man. I just, you know, I love riding motocross to death in real life. I love everything about it. It's the greatest sport ever. It's the most fun thing you could ever do in real life. But it is also one of the most dangerous things you could ever do in real life, especially when you start getting on those bigger bikes, more complicated tracks, stuff like that. I collided with a dude on a finish line on an arena cross race that I did back in the day. Knocked myself right out, boy. Hit that ground right away, boy. Yeah, I mean, I've wadded it to shit multiple times, let's just say that. But, and sometimes you can't even avoid it, you know. Sometimes it don't matter how safe you ride. If a dude crashes right in front of you over a jump, what are you going to do? I've had that happen in real life multiple times before too. But, yeah, I mean, more times than not, these pro riders go down the injury instead of the success, money. A lot of times it's more down the injury, lifelong injury. You know what I mean? And I just weighed that scale back in the day, and I was like, you know what? Hell, even I think Phil Nicoletti, one of them dudes, had a gnarly crash where it nearly took off a couple of his fingers. It looked gnarly, bro. I know some of you boys know the crash that I'm talking about, but damn, when you start getting, you know, body parts hung up in sprockets and shit, whoo! Like I say, I love real life dirt bike riding and racing more than anything, but there's a limit there, you know. There's a limit to where at least I will personally push it, and that just goes to show you how badass these dudes really are. That take it to that level and go through all those injuries and keep doing it, you know. Man, they've all been through it. Just about all of them's been through it to a certain extent, you know. Forever life-changing injuries, right? But either way, that's about it for this video. I'll see you boys on that next one. Later, dudes.